Hello and welcome to Simple English Stories. We are so glad you are here to listen and learn with us.
That's right. Today we have a story about something many of us love, travel. Anna, do you enjoy traveling?
I absolutely do, Ben. Exploring new places, trying new food, meeting new people, it's one of my favorite things. But I'll be honest, it doesn't always go smoothly.
You can say that again. I once missed a flight because I got the time wrong. It's those unexpected moments that you remember, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's what today's story is all about. It's called A Small Problem on Vacation. It's about a young woman named Sarah. Oh, definitely. I remember one time I got on the wrong train in Japan. I couldn't speak the language, and all the signs looked the same. It is scary at first, but a very kind old woman helped me find my way. I ended up seeing a part of the city I never would have planned to visit.
Sarah had planned her dream vacation for months. She was going to a beautiful small town in Italy. She had saved her money, read all the travel books, and even learned a few Italian phrases.
She imagined walking on old cobblestone streets, eating delicious fresh pasta, and looking at art that was hundreds of years old. Everything was planned perfectly, or so she thought. Let's begin. Sarah's plane landed smoothly in Rome. The sun was shining brightly as she stepped off the plane, and a wave of warm, fragrant air greeted her. It smelled of pine trees and distant coffee. She took a deep breath, a huge smile spreading across her face. "I'm finally here," she whispered to herself.
The airport was a whirlwind of activity. People were rushing everywhere, calling out greetings and goodbyes in musical Italian. But Sarah wasn't nervous. She was thrilled. She felt like she was in a movie. She followed the signs for uscita, exit, and ritiro bagagli, baggage claim.
She found the right carousel, the moving belt that carries the luggage from the plane. Her flight number was displayed on the screen above it. She found a good spot to stand and waited, imagining the moment she would grab her big red suitcase and officially begin her adventure.
A bell rang, and the belt started to move. One by one, bags appeared through the plastic curtains. There were sleek black business bags, oversized backpacks covered in flags, and a bright pink suitcase that belonged to a little girl. Sarah watched as families and couples happily reunited with their belongings.
She waited and waited. The crowd around the carousel thinned out. The flow of bags slowed down. Soon, there were only 2 or 3 suitcases left, circling around and around, unwanted. None of them were her bright red one.
Her heart started to beat a little faster. A small knot of worry formed in her stomach. "It's okay," she told herself, her voice of optimism getting a little weaker. "It's probably just the last one off the plane."
But no more bags came. The belt shuddered to a stop. It was empty. The knot in her stomach tightened. She looked around and saw a small office with a sign that said "Lost Luggage." Taking a deep breath to calm her nerves, she walked inside.
A man in an airline uniform sat behind a desk, looking at a computer screen. He looked tired, but when he saw Sarah, he offered a small professional smile. "Can I help you?" he asked in clear English.
"Hello, I just arrived from London and my suitcase didn't come out on the carousel," she said. "It's a large red suitcase with 4 wheels.
"Okay, miss. May I see your passport and your baggage claim tag, please?" Sarah handed him her documents. The small sticker with the barcode felt very important now. He scanned it and then typed for a few moments on his keyboard. He frowned.
He said, looking at the screen. "According to the system, your bag was scanned in London, but it was not scanned onto the flight to Rome." Sarah's stomach dropped. Not put on the plane, but all my clothes are in there. My books, my toiletries, my hiking boots. Everything I need for my trip is in that bag.
I understand your frustration, miss, and I am very sorry for this error. This does happen sometimes. The good news is that in almost all cases, the bag is located within 24 hours. It will likely be on the next flight from London, which arrives tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow? Sarah said, disappointed. And what do I do until then?
We will provide you with a small amenity kit, and once we locate the bag, we will deliver it directly to your hotel at no cost to you. Can you give me the address where you are staying?
Sarah gave him the address of her small hotel in the town of Orvieto, a few hours away by train. The man was very efficient. He filled out a long form on his computer, printed it, and gave her a copy with a reference number. He told her she could track the status of her bag online.
He then reached under the counter and pulled out a small bag. Inside was a toothbrush, a tiny tube of toothpaste, a comb, and a plain white t-shirt. It was a kind gesture, but it felt like a very small comfort.
She thanked him and left the office, stepping back into the busy airport. She felt a little better, but also very worried. Her perfect vacation was not starting perfectly at all. She had only her small backpack with her wallet, passport, phone, and a book. Sarah looked at her watch. The long wait at the carousel and the time spent in the lost luggage office had taken nearly an hour. She was now in a rush. She had a train ticket booked to Orvieto, and her train was scheduled to leave soon.
The train station inside the airport was even more crowded and confusing than the arrivals hall. A huge departure board hung from the ceiling, filled with names of cities and flashing numbers. The sound of train announcements echoed through the large space.
She found her train on the board. It was leaving in just 10 minutes, and it was leaving from platform 25. Platform 25? Where is that? She thought, her anxiety rising again. She scanned the signs, which seemed to point in 3 different directions at once.
She chose a direction and started walking quickly, pulling her small backpack along. But it was difficult to move. People were standing in groups, chatting or walking very slowly. "Scusi, scusi," she said, using one of her few Italian words. "Excuse me."
She finally saw a sign for platforms 23 to 28 pointing down a long escalator. She hurried down, her steps echoing in the corridor. She saw the sign for platform 25 and started to run. She ran down the long platform, her heart pounding in her chest. And then she heard it, a loud, sharp whistle.
The doors of the sleek, modern train slid shut. With a soft hiss, it began to move. Sarah ran the last few meters and stopped, watching helplessly as her train pulled away from the station. It got faster and faster until it was just a red light in the distance.
She had missed it by less than a minute. Sarah stood on the now empty platform, breathing heavily from her run. First the luggage, and now the train. A feeling of complete despair washed over her. She felt lost and invisible in this huge, noisy station. A single hot tear rolled down her cheek.
She sank onto a nearby bench. What should she do now? All her carefully made plans were falling apart. For a moment, she just wanted to cry. She wanted to be home, where everything was familiar and easy.
But she had saved for this trip for over a year. She had dreamed of Italy for even longer. She couldn't give up on her first day. She took another deep, shaky breath. "Okay," she said to herself, her voice a whisper. "I can fix this. This is just a small problem."
She stood up and walked back towards the main part of the station. This time, she ignored the ticket machines and looked for the ticket office with actual people.
After waiting in line, she finally got to the counter.
A friendly woman with kind eyes helped her. Sarah explained that she had missed her train. The woman nodded with understanding. "It happens," she said with a smile. "The next train to Orvieto leaves in 1 hour from platform 12.
Sarah had to buy a new ticket, which was expensive, but she was just grateful there was another train. Now she had an hour to wait. 1 whole hour alone in a foreign train station with no luggage and a lot of bad luck.
As she waited, Sarah realized she was hungry and thirsty. She hadn't eaten anything substantial since the small meal on the plane hours ago. She looked around the station and saw a small sign for a bar, which in Italy often means a cafe. It looked quiet and calm, a small oasis in the middle of the station's chaos.
She went inside. The wonderful smell of strong coffee and sweet pastries filled the air. An older man with a kind, wrinkled face and a clean white apron was standing behind the counter, polishing a glass. He looked up and smiled at her. "Buongiorno," he said in a warm, welcoming voice.
"Hello," Sarah replied. "Do you speak English?" The man nodded slowly. "A little," he said. "Enough."
Sarah ordered a cappuccino and a pastry filled with cream. As she was getting her wallet out to pay, she glanced at her phone. The battery was at 5%. "Oh no," she whispered, her heart sinking once more. Her portable charger, of course, was in her lost suitcase.
The man noticed her expression. "Is there a problem?" he asked gently. "My phone is about to die," Sarah explained, feeling defeated. "And my charger is in my suitcase, which the airline lost." She felt the tears coming to her eyes again, but she blinked them back.
The man looked at her with genuine sympathy. A small problem on vacation," he said with a knowing smile. "Do not worry. Life is full of small problems. You can use my charger." He pointed to an electrical outlet behind the counter. "Come, sit here at the bar."
A wave of relief washed over Sarah. "Really? Thank you so much," she said. She plugged in her phone and sat on a stool at the counter. The man placed her coffee and pastry in front of her. She took a sip of the coffee. It was rich and strong, and it warmed her from the inside out.
The owner, whose name was Marco, asked her about her trip. Sarah found herself telling him everything: the lost luggage, the missed train, the stress and disappointment.
Marco listened patiently, nodding. When she finished, he chuckled softly. He wiped the counter with a cloth and said, "Let me tell you a story."
"Many years ago," he began, "when I was a young man, I went to Paris with my wife, Maria. It was our honeymoon. I had all our money for the week in my pocket. We were on the metro, the subway, and it was very crowded. When we got off at our stop, I reached into my pocket. It was empty. Someone had stolen our money."
"Oh no," Sarah gasped. "What did you do?"
"We had nothing," Marco said. "No money for our hotel, no money for food. We didn't speak French well. We went to the police, but they could not help much. We felt hopeless, just like you feel now." He paused, his eyes looking far away.
"But then," he continued, his voice softer, "we walked into a small bakery. The owner, a woman named Sophie, saw my Maria crying. She took us to the back, gave us fresh bread and cheese and a warm drink. She let us use her telephone to call our family in Italy. She even let us sleep in a small, clean room above her shop for one night."
He smiled at the memory. "We never got our money back. The rest of our honeymoon was very, very simple. We ate bread and cheese and walked everywhere. But we never forgot Sophie's kindness. We learned that sometimes the worst moments bring out the best in people."
Sarah listened, forgetting her own troubles. Marco's story made her problems feel so much smaller. "Your problems," Marco said gently, as if reading her mind, "are not so big. They are just inconvenient. The important thing is how you react and to remember to accept help when it is offered. When Sarah's phone was charged and it was time to catch her train, she tried to pay Marco. He held up a hand and refused to take her money. "No, no," he said. "It is a gift, a welcome to Italy. You pass the kindness on."
Sarah walked to platform 12 feeling like a completely different person. The stress and sadness were gone, replaced by a feeling of warmth and calm. Marco's kindness and his story had completely changed her day.
She got on the next train and found a seat by the window. As it moved through the beautiful Italian countryside, past fields of sunflowers and old farmhouses, she didn't worry about her suitcase anymore. Instead, she thought about the kind man in the cafe.
That evening, as she was checking into her charming little hotel in Orvieto, her phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Hello?" she answered. It was the airline. Her red suitcase had been found. It had arrived in Rome, and a driver would be delivering it to her hotel in the morning.
Sarah smiled, a genuine happy smile. Her vacation was back on track, but she knew that she would never forget her first day in Italy. She would remember the panic and the frustration, of course.
But more than that, she would remember Marco. She learned an important lesson that day. A vacation isn't just about perfect plans and beautiful sights. It's about the unexpected moments. It's about the challenges you face.
And most importantly, the kindness of strangers that can turn a small problem into a wonderful, unforgettable memory.
And that's the end of our story, a small problem on vacation. It's a great reminder that even when things go wrong, a little bit of help and a positive attitude can make all the difference.
It really is. Sometimes the best travel stories come from the things that didn't go as planned. Thank you so much for listening to Simple English Stories today. We hope you enjoyed it.
Join us next time for another story to help you learn and practice your English. Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.